Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to take apart the steering wheel in order to replace the ignition lock housing which your key sticks into. Jettas are notorious for the key getting stuck inside, which is what happened in my car. So the very first thing you're going to want to do is to disconnect the battery. Go ahead and disconnect the negative cable on your battery and leave it for about 30 to 45 minutes before you start working on your car. That way you don't have any risk of the airbag going off on you while you're pulling it off your steering wheel. Then turn your wheel 90 degrees and I'll show you, there's clips on the back side back here once you turn it 90 degrees, and I'll show you how to pull those off. If you turn the wheel 90 degrees you can see how to pull the wheel off. That little clip right there in the center, you can see that bar coming across there. That needs to pop off that nub. And when that pops off on both sides, we can pop out the airbag. So pop it out. Let's just try jamming it in there for a minute. There we go. Okay, so the other side, I just rotated it 90 degrees the other way. So see this piece just popped up on both sides, so you can just grab it with one hand even and just pull it right out. So it's connected with one wire, so that's not too bad. The only thing you got to do is, if you look down, it kind of looks like it's got a little bit of, oh, there you go. You just kind of pry it and it just pops right off. So just so you can see what the underside of that looks like. So it's pretty much just that one wire that you can see now right there. Okay, so this this piece here is, you can see there's 12 points. Now I don't have a 12 point right now, but what I do have is a T55, and it does fit it. Actually, I didn't have to put that much pressure on it and it turned, so I think I got lucky with just using a T55 because I just didn't have a triple square. It's a 12 millimeter triple square to get this piece out. So, but it worked. Okay, you can see it, the groove right there. So that groove just has to line up when I put it back in there. I just pulled the steering wheel off and you can see this thing is still it just kind of auto rotates back. You can just let go of it. So it's a good thing we lined up. From this point, to pull off the plastic housing so that I can get to this key. Okay, so I got this screwdriver in there a little easier, and if you can work it over to about right there and pop it, pops up a little bit. I assume we can do that on this side as well. So I can pop it in there a little bit. There we go. Just kind of pop that way. There we go. And that just goes right up. Looks like there's it's connected, so it's not going to come off, but there you go. And then, okay, so then you got to take out, this is a T25 star bit. Okay, now this can just be pulled down, it looks like. Now I've got a problem because, see, I can't pull this down because my key's in there, so I got to figure out what I'm going to do here. Yeah. Okay, so there's one more T25 to take off, and that is underneath. Right, you can see it right there. I'm trying to focus on it here, but yeah, just gotta pop that out, and then this can. So you can just pop this off, and then I pulled my key halfway off, so I've got the other half right here, and then actually. Imagine that, it just slides right off. So I got lucky on this. So there's my key still stuck. So the light kind of died on me, but there's a little screw right down here, and that is a T8, and I'm going to take that out. What I did back here is that little piece was It was clipped in, so I just pushed back that orange lever and popped it right out. There's another wire that's connected on this side, which will also need to be, I'm trying to focus this. There we go. That one's also going to have to get pulled out somehow. Just figure that one out. For now, I'm just going to pull out this, let's see if I can get this to focus here. This screw, and then I'm going to pop this bottom piece off. That way I can at least get to the ignition unit. Okay, I've got it to this point. I've taken off the steering wheel control module. There's two clips that hold it in. There's also, well, first you have to, this thing plugs in, and you have to push this back, and then you can pop it out. It's pretty easy. The other one was a little trickier, because I actually had to put a little screwdriver back, because it's sitting up like this, and you have to kind of go around right there, and you'll see the red tab, and you got to push this back, and then you got to get your finger behind, and you actually have to push this black piece right here down. But I mean, it's going to be in this position like that, but you got to push that down, and then you can pull it out, and that plugged in the back right here. Once you get that done, you can actually reach underneath the unit, and with your finger you can kind of feel in there, and you can actually push this forward. You can actually push on this right here, and that's, you can kind of see it's this little piece right there. You're actually pressing this in, okay, with one hand. And then on the other side, what you have to do, I got an Allen wrench. You can kind of see this thing sticks out. See, I can push it back like that. Well, what the problem I was having was when I was putting this Allen wrench through there like that, it was hitting this thing and kind of getting stuck on it, trying to push it back. But I needed to push it to the left. So I got an Allen wrench that had a little more wiggle room, and I was able to kind of push it over, and then when I went in, it popped it. It should just pop right down. Okay, I want to show you the next piece, which is really, really amazing. So, okay, so they actually make these bolts right down there to snap off when they torque them down at the factory when they build the car. So to get those out, you actually have to drill into them and use what do you call it, the little screw extractor. I used a 764 drill bit. You know, the screw extractors, I used the smallest one. I was able to drill far enough down and then pop this thing in. You can see the attachment I had. I just had a basic, so luckily I had a right angle thing, but it's really tricky because my thing has a, you see that side right there, so a normal drill bit wouldn't fit in there. So luckily I had one of these, and I was able to get the right angle to go, because man, you really get, you know, you're really working on limited space. I mean, if I try to pop this thing in there, it's just not really, and there you go, you can see with that out, there you go. So I got one more to go, and there's the second one. From here, the entire assembly can just be pulled right out. You can see what the screws are going through. To disconnect this wire, you can see where it goes in. You have to press that little tab right there in the center and then just pop it out. I just used a little teeny screwdriver to try to show you right there. See if I can get it to focus. You just got to pop this clip out right there, and then the one on the other side, and it'll just drop right out. Then I can actually pop off this ignition. This is the last thing connected, and I can just pop this thing right out. If I can do it while I'm holding the camera here. Pop it right out. Now this thing is free and clear. Okay, so now I've gotten the whole thing apart, but to tell you how I did it, the switch is right here. The key was on the other side. To pull the switch out was pretty simple. I just had to press inside of this and push this lever down and then pop that out. So that piece is out. And then to pull it out, you actually need to take a couple of safety pins. There's a little teeny right there. You can see that kind of notch where I've got the paper clip in right there, that little teeny notch. There's also one on the other side. You put 2 paper clips in at the same time on both sides, and then while they're in, you just pop it out. And that releases this lever right there. It kind of pushes it in, and then this other one right here. Then comes the part that should have been easy, but wasn't for me. So inside where the key fits in, there's a little teeny hole. You can see where the bobby pin's sticking down in there. And I had to put that in there and then press on this piece as hard as I possibly could. Because I think mine is kind of jammed or something. But I just used a little screwdriver head and I was able to push that right on there and just press on it really hard with one hand while trying to use my left hand to pull this thing out. And luckily I got it finally. But what it does is when you push this in, let's see if I can get the right, there it is. So you can see that lever right there. See how it's sticking up right there? So when you push this in, that thing goes down. But as you can see with mine, it doesn't go in all the way. So that's why I had to push so hard to get it to finally push the final way in so I could pull this out. Okay, so I got the new part. It comes with the switch already in. I had to transfer this piece over onto it, or I will have to. And then this, you just have to remember how you had it oriented and then make sure that it's going to go in. You do not want to mess with this inside of here, because I heard online, I was reading, some people they turned it to the off position inside of here before they installed this, and they could not get it back out. I don't know why, but so you just figure out how it's going to go in there and then you just pop it right in. Before you assemble this inside of this, remember that it won't fit because of this piece will get in the way of where the wire goes. So it's smarter to just put this in first, then you can tuck it back up inside of here. Okay, so I've just turned this around. I've just put it back in the exact same way. You can see those 2 clips. There's one right there, snaps in there. There's one right over there. So you just want to make sure the yellow sticker's up on the top, and then you can just pop the housing right back in. And then now that it's popped in, you can see how this wire comes in. But you can't pull, you don't have room to pull this thing all the way out because this thing's always in the way. Okay, so I'm sliding this back on here now. You can see if this was in the off position. Let's see here. If this was in the off position, that tab would be up, so you wouldn't be able to put it back on. And that is your steering wheel lock. When you pull it out, you can't. That'll be up inside there. So you got to put the key back in, pop it in on, and then you can slide this on. And then if you want, you can pop it off, pull it out. That tab will go up inside, and then it'll lock this from twisting and moving. Time to put the new factory bolts back in. So these babies are designed so that little head part will just snap right off once you torque it in there. I don't know what the torque is. I still got to look that up. But just so you know, these cost almost $5 a piece at the dealer. So if you can find them cheaper, then now all we got to do is slide this piece right back on. It clips in. Then the clock spring assembly goes back on, and those 2 clips right up, you can see them right there. You're gonna clip in right there and right there. Gotta navigate this wire back into place up inside that little clip. The key to getting the bottom piece on is to get it up over the right side first and get it over this keyhole first, and then you should be able to just get it right back into place. Then you got the T25s on both sides to tighten in. Now you see the 2 yellow clips up here. Those are going to snap right into here and there. Remember to make sure it's hinged first on this side and right over here as well. the hinge is actually back in there where you can't really see. You just pop it into place on both sides, and then you can push this down. There you go. And snap it into place. Popped it with my right hand on this and left hand on that, just at the same time, just popped it right back in place. Now don't forget the last T25 screw that needs to go right underneath, right there. Time to put the steering wheel back on. So now you gotta remember, I mean, you should have had it marked, but you just gotta remember. Let's see. So I gotta pull. Let's see. See, I can't spin the wheel anymore. So see how mine's offline. Here, let's see. You can see I've got the little mark right there and one right here because this was supposed to be down 90. So I gotta pop this off. I gotta spin the clock thing down. And see, it's gonna want to just pop back up. So I'm gonna need to use two hands to do this. So you want to get it exactly back in place. Time to put the bolt back in, and if you can remember, it's a 12mm 12-point bit, or if you only have star bits, then it's a T55. Just pop that back in for your airbag, and it'll snap right back into place. Then remember that this and this snap onto this and that right there. They'll just snap on. I don't know if I would hit it, but if you just press it with firm pressure, it'll snap right on. Together here. Okay, my steering wheel's locked, so let's see if I can get this. Alright, so it's working. Okay, hold on. And then you want to reconnect your battery cable. Hopefully you had this off the whole time. So we've got power. Alright, let's give it a try. Here's for the money. Oh man. Power steering's back. So good. One last little side note, the way that I got my car to turn off was I actually pulled, I think it was this one or maybe it was this one, I can't remember now. One of these I pulled and it turned the car right off when it was, because if you remember, my car was, the ignition was stuck on. So you can see there's no engine lights on besides my seatbelt light on. So there you go. It works, everything's working, and I saved, well, they quoted me $1,000 at the dealership. I spent $115 on eBay for the part, and then about 10 bucks for those two bolts. So what, I'm about 125 bucks and maybe 8 hours of labor because I'm super slow. So there you go, save yourself 800 bucks and fix your ignition.